Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Trap Chat Black History Month. Trailblazing Footprints, Writing Black History Today. I am your host, Kirsten Greggs, the Trap Recruiter, and today I am joined by another phenomenal guest, Morgan Malachi, the Collective Director of Tubman House Center for Reparative Justice, a Philly native, so I wore my shirt today, Recruiter John. Uh, Her work centers in Black liberation. She's an essayist, a founding member of Philly for Real Justice, uh, an online friend of mine who lives, and I mean this authentically and honestly, lives by the motto Tubman led us, Cali tasked us. Welcome her to the show. Morgan, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, Miss Kirsten, how are you?
Okay, first and foremost, I love that you call me Miss Kirsten.
Always
For,
do.
yes,
Always do.
always do. I am a little older than Morgan, and it's just a nod to a generation of people that we thought did not have, that level of respect. But I will say this: I usually didn't like to be called Miss Kirsten when I got into my upper age that I am now, but um, when she explained why that was important for her to say, I was like, you know what, I'm with that because I've had that at work myself where people have been like, "Don't call me Miss," and I'm like, "But you're you're this person's age, or it's a sign of respect." If they say, "You know what, don't do that,"
Yeah.
then I won't. But I'm not going to deny her the fact. And plus, I like it. It sounds cute when you say Miss.
Right.
So, Morgan, for those folks who aren't familiar with you, can you share your career journey to collective director of Tubman House Center for Reparative Justice, where your work focuses on police abolition and reparations?
Yeah. So when Trayvon Martin passed, I started to get more into activism. I was older, growing up in the city. I would come out to Mumia marches and stuff like that. And as a teenager, I remember my first march was pretty sure it was like 99. And I was 15, 14. And that was actually the biggest rally that I know to date. People came from all over. That's when the cherry blossoms were in front of City Hall. Um, and then after that, when Trayvon Martin passed, I started to get more into it. Started to go out to protests, and I was older, so I could do a lot more things that I couldn't do as a teenager. And then by the time Michael Brown's death hit, that's where I really focused on police abolition and really started to make it my business to be heard and an active participant in the struggle.
I love that. I love that. Let's focus a little bit on your center. Like I said, it emphasizes political education to combat co-optation in the campaign for lineage-based reparations. For those folks who are not familiar with what reparations is, can you first define reparative justice and then let us know what strategies you're employing to keep communities informed, empowered, and resilient in the face of what we know is going to come, roadblocks and challenges to progress in these efforts?
So reparations is a debt that's owed, right? The United States government owes a debt to the descendants of slaves, and they owed it to the enslaved, which they never paid, right? It's not a handout. It is a comprehensive program that includes everything that you can imagine to make Black Americans fully repaired, right? So I'll talk about whatabouts, like, well, what about college? I don't want money. I don't think you should go to that. Reparations is all encompassing, right? Under international law. That is the standard that we use, and that is what we're advocating for, right? Restitution, um, the return of our political prisoners, the repeal of unjust judicial members, the return of stolen goods. It is to make the situation close or as if it never happened before. And we do know for our situation that can never happen. But like I said, reparations is all encompassing. So anything that any descendant ever thought of, that is included in reparations.
Couldn't get off mute quick enough. Sorry about that. So, what strategies are you employing to make sure that this movement isn't co-opted similarly to the way that the Black Lives Matter movement was?
So for now, I feel like the deepest thing and what I focus on most is education. Unlike police abolition work, I don't feel like the time is there because the education part hasn't happened, and the education part surrounding and starting with your own story, I think is very important. Your family story, very important for to build advocacy for reparations, right? Because it's a justice claim and you have to feel it in your heart and soul. And I can't preach to you. I think that the best thing is how you came up, your parents, your grandparents, and you can see down the line how these systemic ways have affected you, and also you can see in your own family the advancement that was made that was also taken away. And I think that that is the purest way to build this movement because it's undeniable. And so that's why I focus on the educational aspect and also the genealogy aspect.
That's awesome. I want to stay there. You have a series of essays called Tubman Ethnography. Another word I can't say. Project, and it's volume 1. It's a series of essays, and you also are working on a documentary as well. So in that thing, you've documented Black American narratives of love, community, struggle. What role do you see storytelling and documentation playing in advancing the fight for Black liberation?
I think especially in these times, it is very important. I don't see how we can launch a struggle without it anymore. I think that, especially for reparations, this is a personal justice claim. And when I did the ethnography project, my focus was just to galvanize people to be able to tell their own story. So I featured my family and people adjacent in my family so their stories could get heard. And Mr. Wally Jones, for instance, he's a ex-76er championship NBA player. And, for him to come on and give me an interview and tell his story and be just so transparent, I think that as the elders get older, we need to capture these stories, and that's what my work focused on. It's kind of changed my life.
I love that. And I love that you always amplify the voices of elders, people that we may have forgotten or don't think that they are meaningful anymore because they're no longer in the spotlight, or because they retired from whatever job they had, or because they, don't make a certain amount of money, or they didn't have a certain job title. So I love that your work centers in on that and that you continue to focus on educating people. I love that you talked about your family story, how you start from the inside out. So you start from your family and then you work your way out. And you're from a city that is rich in history, rich in Black history specifically as well. So as a native Philadelphian, how does the city's unique history of Black activism and resistance influence your journey and the work you do today?
It's funny because I never do a life without it. That's how I was raised. I went to Temple Black History Camp. The director, Dr. Melanie Machete Stewart, growing up for about 4 or 5 summers in my life. I just don't know a life without Blackness, and I was not raised in any way other than we are excellent and always surrounded by beautiful Black things. And I thank my parents for that. And yeah, I live in a unique place. We have a lot of different kinds of Black factions in the city. And I'm thankful for all of that.
I love it. Thank you. I want to go back to your motto. For those who missed it, Tubman led us, Cali tasked us. That's a powerful and inspiring motto. So can you explain its significance and how it guides your mission?
Right. So Harriet Tubman Araminsa, she guided our people. She was Moses, and that was her fight. That was her struggle. She did not receive a Civil War pension even though we all know that she was a guide. And when she did finally get payment, it was because of her husband's participation in the Civil War, which makes it even more egregious to me, right? Which goes back to reparations. There's not one political figure, historical Black political figure, whose story you can't tie to reparations, right? And she did lead us. And then when it came to Mrs. Callie House, she tasked us because she started the reparations movement asking for pensions for ex-slaves at the time, And when people say that none of you guys were slaves, it's like, well, the ex-slaves did, and Miss Callie House actually helped organize them, and we have a lot of proof of her organizing efforts. You can see them in the archives in DC. And for that reason, Callie tasked us, Tubman led us, Callie tasked us.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thinking about the theme, Trailblazing Footprints, Writing Black History Today, what advice will you offer to individuals and communities who want to join the fight for reparative justice and contribute to shaping the blueprint of future movements?
Yeah. So what I've found is that it's so hard to convince Black people to say yes to reparations, right? Which it frustrates me, but I also understand why, and that is the work. The work is to psychologically change our people's mind to understand that they are deserving, and none of this is our fault. And we did everything, and we still do, right, to progress, right, to help our families out, to live a good, full American life. And I think that is the most challenging part, right? To make people understand that you are deserving of this debt that is owed to us.
And you're going to continue to do that through education.
Correct.
I love it. I love it. I can't believe that we got through that much in such a short amount of time. You are so fantastic. I'm always on your side. Even when you're crashing out, I will send you a message and say, you know what, Morgan?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I got to do it offline though, because I don't believe in calling people out on the internet for other people to come attack them. But I will be like, Morgan, now that was not nice.
I try. I am trying.
No, it's your passion. And that's why, like I said, I will always celebrate you. I will always amplify your voice. I will always ensure that people know that there are people out here who are genuine and who are doing the work. So it's time for the rapid fire, which is one of my favorite parts of the show, because it gives us an opportunity to learn about people and they can just kind of relax, and not just talk about their work, but talk about themselves as the person. So we're going to start with the first one. We're staying on the Black History theme. Can you share a cherished Black History Month memory or tradition that shaped your understanding and appreciation of Black history and culture?
We used to go to the art museum, and I remember the Henry Oswald Tanner, Me and the Banjo painting. I really love that painting. I remember it was just a really celebratory time. Like I said, I was always surrounded by Black arts. So I feel like that time, I think I was probably about 9 or 10. I used to take classes down at the art museum. So I fully remember that February program that they had. And it was really cool.
Nice. Okay. What Black historical figure gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Zora Neale Hurston.
Really? I thought you would have said Harriet Tubman or Callie House, actually.
Yeah, I really am inspired by her. I feel like I'm racing on kind of like a hamster wheel to really, really document the elders specifically, and to see what she was able to do in her time period, how she was just able to network and maneuver and suck it up to get all of the things that she collected that I treasure so much. Like with everything that I have, I don't hold a candle to her, but she is my biggest inspiration and somebody that I didn't know about when I was younger.
I love it. I love it. Who's a lesser known historical or contemporary Black leader who inspires you and we should learn more about?
So I talked to Dr. Amos, and I actually have it on my YouTube channel, his interview, and he talks about Josiah Henson,
Okay.
who was the real, his life was married under the book Uncle Tom. And it's a really amazing interview, and he narrates his life very well. And I was just reading about him recently and his house, and I saw his descendants, and I was just like, yeah, he's somebody that we should know about the way we know about Harriet Tubman.
And not refer to Uncle Tom as the pejorative instead of the actual antagonist in the book. So appreciate that. So I'm not going to give it away. Y'all go and read the book and then look up Mr. Josiah. All right. Are there any books, now that we're there, films or artworks related to Black history that you would recommend for listeners who are seeking to deepen their understanding?
I have some things here. So this one right here,
it. Right? Okay, read it all for people that aren't watching but listening. So this WEB, okay.
Du Bois, Black Reconstruction in America, 1860 to 1880.
Okay.
This one right here is what everybody should read. Because once you read this, then it will help me to not have to tell you guys the reason why we are in the situation that we are in and why it is not our fault.
Okay.
Right? So this one, if any reparationist, anybody, this is the one, right?
Okay.
This is our Diary of Anne Frank.
Ooh, I love that you said that. You have a way with words. I don't think you appreciate how eloquent you are. And I know that you've been told this before, especially about your writings. And I think sometimes that you diminish the value of your contributions. And that was another one of the reasons I really wanted to celebrate you. Like, you're a wonderful writer. And you are extremely eloquent. And I'm not saying that in a like Obama sort of way.
Right.
I mean it. You know, I'm always going to shoot straight with you. All right. How should individuals and communities actively participate in honoring and preserving Black history beyond February?
I think that they should look within like I did, right? I think that we're at the point culturally where we know the greats that aren't of our family, right? You know, I was watching Van Jones, Finding Your Roots. And, he had an ancestor that ran away, killed his slave master's son, went to jail, convicted of manslaughter, not murder. Why? Because he was property and he was valued, and then ran away got pardoned by the governor of the state of Alabama. Why? Because he was property and they wanted their property back. And then he ran away. And it's like, I'm not trying to diminish any big historical figure, but what else do you need in your own family, right? And I think that is the chapter that we should be leaning to.
Thank you for saying that and for sharing that. Ooh, this is a tough one for me. And I always like to get folks' opinions on it. How do you think social media has influenced the documentation and dissemination of Black history and culture?
I think that social media, like people always say, it's a strong tool, and it is. It's a good networking tool. But I also do think it's a distraction. I do think it's a way for people to have their work co-opted, right? And, when you put these thoughts out there, and then a little FBI agent starts swirling, and the next thing you know, whatever thoughts you had, they found a way to break it, right? I do feel like that about social media too. I do think there's a way still to use it. I just haven't found that way, and I can't even lie to the people. I haven't really found that way. I'll put projects out and stuff like that, but I think that because of COVID, now it's time to actually get outside and network, and build a movement more silently, because
Mm.
I'm coming from the police abolition movement. I'm original Black Twitter. I was on there when Ferguson was going on. I'm watching the live streams. I'm late at night tweeting.
Yep.
I did all of that. I think that is time to maybe get back to the old school ways. So,
Of getting offline.
right, getting offline, having little community meetings,
Mm.
library events, taking time out to build your community. If people live in like apartment buildings, it can be an easy way, because your members are right there. Those kinds of things, just to have conversations, because it starts with the celebratory aspect, right? Because people need to be uplifted. And then that way, you build camaraderie and you just go from there. So that when advocates for reparations are doing the things in the state houses, people can come out for that because now they are galvanized by all of the things that are going on besides reparations.
Gotcha. Okay. What's your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up for the day?
Rap. Rap. Straight up DMX, The Locks, Jay-Z.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my top three. I am my top one is MC Hammer. I'm a big MC
Are
Hammer.
you serious? You keep surprising me.
Yep, yep. He is the first rap superstar. And also he is great. He's just great. Who else helped their people that much in rap? I don't know. And I'm not saying nobody else did, but I know for a fact he helped his whole community. And I always will admire that. And I would go broke for that. It's worth it.
Okay. Okay. What's the best piece of career advice you received that you would give to your younger self?
If I could tell my younger self anything, honestly, I would tell my younger self, you know more than you think you do.
I love that advice. You do. And you do. You know more than you think you do. All right. If you wrote a book describing your life, your mission so far, what would the title be?
Can I live?
Come on, Jay-Z. Like,
can I live? Like, that's all. I just want to live a good life. Can I live? Really, that's the general sentiment to all of the things that I've been trying to do my whole life, right? Comes down to just wanting my people and myself to live a good life,
I can appreciate that. But it is funny for me that you are just like,
yep.
Like you can't say anything to that because it's not even a question. It's like, it's a declaration. Can I live?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, we have reached the end of the show, sadly, but I do want you to take some time and talk about any upcoming projects or initiatives that we should be on the lookout for, and then where folks can find you and follow your work, read your essays, all that good stuff.
All right. So I do have this is a flyer. This is the next project I'll be coming out with, if you guys can see it.
3 times freedom.
Right. Okay. And this will be, it's kind of your interview kind of mirrored the documentary I'm putting out because it is about me. And it'll be one of 3 parts of the movie. And it's in the back. So you will be getting one of these for sure.
All right. Where can we find 3 times freedom?
Well, this will be out in film festivals, so I'll put stuff online and stuff like that. My mentor, Miss Deidre Farmer-Perlman, put me in on this project, so shout out to her and everybody from the Restoration Study Group, doing real great things. And she's actually on my YouTube channel as well. If you want to see her interview, so that's what I'm doing now. And that project should be done by mid-February. I'm not sure. I know we'll probably have a screening too, and I'm not sure what festivals are going in through the summer, but I know the project will be done. That's where I'm at head-wise. Like, I just got to get it done.
Okay, so where do we keep up with the dates and any of the releases?
So I'll always put it on my Twitter at Callie Tasked Us. You can go there; it'll always be there. And it'll also be Any other followers will be on the Instagram, all the same handle at Ali Tasked Us. Um, yeah, so usually I'm more active on Twitter than Instagram more than I am on Facebook, even though we have one,
Okay.
So that's where it will be. Um, so this is what I'm focused on now. And then usually what I do is I like to travel and get more stories. And I also travel for my genealogy too. So that's another thing. So I have so much footage that I haven't gotten to yet. And I will be putting, what I do is a cycle, or I'll go out in the summer and then I'll put things out from the last summer. So I have more things from last summer that I'll put out this summer. So I'll start putting stuff out like May and probably finish up in August, and in that time period, I'll be compiling stuff. So I want to put my second ethnography project coming out. My mom is always in it. She's going to travel with me everywhere through every genealogy project, even if she likes it or not. So that Tubman House ethnography project part 2 will be coming out this summer as well.
I'm so excited for all the stuff you're going to do. And, I'm going to support 100%. And if we can find some way to perhaps even partner on something, do a screening someplace, that would be awesome. Y'all make sure that you do follow all the socials to keep up on all the wonderful things that Morgan is doing. Again, she's everywhere on social at Callie Tasked Us. Get the W.E.B. Du Bois book that she mentioned. Read up on genealogy, and can people reach out to you if they don't know how to get started or where to get started?
Yes, for sure. I am part of the African American genealogy group here. And they have different groups nationwide, and we always have a general meeting and a guest speaker once a month where anybody can reach out. I'll send you anyone the link, and you guys can get connected. It's a great organization. And we just celebrated our 35th anniversary this past November. So, yeah. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for taking time out of your very busy day to come and talk to us about all the things that you're doing with Tubman House Center for Reparative Justice, your genealogy projects, everything, your essays, all the amazing work that you are doing. And you guys, join me again for another episode of Trap Chat, Black History Month, Trailblazing Footprints, Writing Black History Today. We're going to have more amazing guests throughout the month. I have given myself a huge task of interviewing more than 4 people for the month. So I'm going to keep working. Y'all keep watching, and I will see you next time.